I remember when I first got my PlayStation, and the only game that I could play was Uncharted 4 because it came with the PlayStation. And luckily for me, my brother, who had gotten a PlayStation about 2 years before I did, just so happened to have Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection. So I got to experience all four games in the order that you were supposed to experience it in. And man, it was such a wonderful experience seeing the first game to the second game to the third game, and then eventually the beautiful and interesting storytelling fourth game. And just like that, now, about 3 years later, and about 4 years too late to the party, I finally got my hands on, and I finally was able to play through the entire Uncharted The Lost Legacy. And oh my god, I am so in love with this game. Now, it's not perfect by any means of the word. There are a lot of points in the game where it's definitely lacking, and you could tell that they definitely grabbed it from Uncharted 4, and it's not really this game's fault. But let's get into this review. Should you buy Uncharted The Lost Legacy, or should you just skip this one entirely? So, unlike the other Uncharted games, in this one you don't follow Nathan Drake. It takes place right after Uncharted 4, so everything that took place in Uncharted 4 kind of brings over to the game. It's not a prequel, it's a direct sequel. So at the end of Uncharted 4, Nathan Drake kind of decides that he's done with the whole treasure hunting thing, and he wants to settle down and live a safe and a happy life with his family. And, well, like every Uncharted game, we need protagonists, and we need people who are willing to risk their lives to save the world and to find a little bit of treasure while doing it. And we meet up with an old character that we met in the second Uncharted game, Chloe Frazer. And just like Nathan, she's a badass treasure hunter, but unlike Nathan, she doesn't take no shit from anyone. Nathan would kind of let you walk all over him and say some shit before he actually jumped into the fight, but Chloe ain't having none of that. She's ready to throw hands at any point. And then, following alongside her, controlled by the NPC, is Nadine Ross. If she sounds familiar, it's because she is. She was one of the bad guys in Uncharted 4 who kind of ran Shoreline, the mercenary group who you were fighting majority of the time in Uncharted 4. And they're in India this time, and they're looking for the Tusk of Ganesh, a ancient, powerful weapon slash symbol that showed that whoever wielded it would control a certain land. And throughout the story, the interesting part about it is we see Chloe and Nadine go from being business partners and kind of not really liking each other at one point later on in the story to truly caring about each other, to the point where at the end of the game, you see both of them holding on to a rope and really worrying about what's going to happen to each other in that moment. Now, since this is a direct sequel from Uncharted 4, it was originally considered to be a DLC for the game, but during development, the people developing the game were just adding so much stuff that Sony and Naughty Dogs kind of came to the agreement, listen, our PlayStation Pro's about to come out. Uncharted 4 was a big success. It was a good launch on the PlayStation. Let's just do the same thing, but for the PS Pro. Let's release an Uncharted game, and let's do this. And that's basically what they did. The game is beautiful. It is amazing. There are times where you enter a crevice or a cave or a tomb, and you see the light shifting, and the grays and the blacks and the bright vivid reds, and the explosions are just so beautiful, and you can truly tell that this game is pushing it, especially on the PS Pro. You can hear it at times. Your fans will turn on like it's crazy. The game looks amazing. Now, because it was supposed to be a DLC from Uncharted 4, a lot of the combat, weapons, and even driving feels exactly the same. And that could be a good thing, or that could be a bad thing. That all kind of depends on if you enjoyed it from Uncharted 4, or if you've enjoyed it from previous Uncharted games. But, in my opinion, the animations look amazing, especially when you see Nadine and Chloe kind of do these double tag team kills and knockdowns. It's amazing. And Nadine's not just another side character who's kind of just along for the ride, who shoots and kind of just does whatever. She actually helps you. She helps you spot enemies. She helps you find different paths. She helps you unlock paths. She's there to provide comfort, and she's also a pretty important part in the puzzles, because unlike the previous Uncharted games, these puzzles are actually hard. They will have you stuck, especially the annoying axe puzzle that had me stuck for a solid 10 minutes when I was playing this game. Puzzles are hard. Puzzles aren't as simple as they were before. It's not as simple as pull this lever in this order and then pull that lever this many times. It actually requires a little bit of thought and a little bit of knowledge on what you're going to be doing. But it's not hard enough to the point where you'll have to like pull up a walkthrough, because luckily for you, Nadine will start to kind of, if you fail a couple times, a little triangle will pop up above her head and she'll help you out. She'll be like, okay, pull this lever here, pull that lever there, and you should get it. Now, the main bad guy in this story is a guy called Asav. And Asav is kind of this dorky looking bad guy. When you first meet him, you think, oh, he's kind of harmless. I mean, he looks like the traditional bad looking guy slash and super intelligent super villain. But you quickly find out that this guy can hold his shit down, and he is a complete and utter psychopath. And it's amazing to see it, especially when Shoreline gets tied into the story and how crazy and far he's willing to take it to reach his goals of taking over the world, basically. And like I said before, the environment in this game is really what sells it for me. Just like Uncharted 4, you could tell Naughty Dogs and Sony really wanted to push the boundaries and capabilities that the PlayStation and PlayStation Pro for Uncharted: The Lost Legacy can really do. And the environment does a really good job of really showing you how beautiful this game is. And even small things like attention to detail. If you have a gun on your back and you roll around in the mud, you'll see mud on the gun. If you go through water and you had mud on your weapon, all the mud would get off you and then your character will be wet. It's small little things like that. Like when you pull out your secondary, you see her strap the primary to her back and vice versa. You see her unstrap her primary to shoot it. It's an amazing experience, and it really makes you feel like you're actually in the game. Other than that, there are some very bad points to this game. Unlike Uncharted 4, in my opinion, where the car kind of felt like an extension, in this game, the car feels like a necessary tool. If you think that you're just going to be running around and I'll use the car a little bit here and I'll use the car a little bit there, you're sadly mistaken. When you're in the segment of the game where you need the car, you need the car. Don't lose that car. Keep that car close to you. Drive that car up as far as you can until you cannot drive, because you can't run in this game just like in the last game. So it's pretty annoying, and this game does this very annoying thing, in my opinion, where it kind of forces you to be stealthy or you get bombarded with 1,000 enemies. And there's a difference between fun slow and boring slow. Fun slow is like Metal Gear Solid, right? Where you can come at different angles and you can, block enemies in one area and set up explosions in another. In this game, you don't really have that many options on how you can proceed with a certain activity or a certain area of the map. So it kind of forces you to either, hey, you have two options, go extremely stealthy or go extremely loud. And at times it can be pretty annoying, but at other times, for the most part, if you just kind of take your time, look at the situation, find some of the loot boxes that are hidden around the area, you should be fine. But at times it can get pretty boring to do that, and it's always fun to just run and gun and throw grenades at enemies. I played this game originally on the medium mode, and then I played it again on the hard mode. And I will tell you this, the medium mode is definitely where the game was meant to be played on. And the hard mode is definitely play it a little bit slower, enjoy the pace, definitely do stealth though. You can't just start running and gunning on the hard mode, especially in certain areas of the game. So basically, my thoughts on the game is you should definitely buy this game, especially if you're a fan of the Uncharted series. But if you're new to the Uncharted series, I would definitely recommend a game like Uncharted 4 first, so that you can kind of get a feel for the game and how it'll play out. Because Nathan Drake, in my opinion, is just a more flushed out character of what Nadine and Chloe are. So if you're more interested in a good flushed out experience that really puts you into the character and what the story will be about, and you're new to the Uncharted series, definitely check out Uncharted 4 before touching this game. But if you're familiar with the Uncharted series, or you've watched a couple Let's Plays, or you played a couple of the games, Uncharted The Lost Legacy is a great game, whether you're playing on PS4 or the PS4 Pro. Definitely check it out. I give this game a 9.5 out of 10. It's a great game. Now, if you like this video, you know what I always ask for. I don't care about subs. I don't care about likes. I just really want to know how I can improve as a commentary review channel. I guess that's what I am. So leave a comment down below. Tell me if you enjoyed the video. If you didn't, tell me why. It could literally be something as stupid as, hey, your videos are a little bit too long for reviews, or hey, you're talking a little bit too fast, try slowing it down, or hey, you're talking a little bit too slow, try speeding it up. Any feedback helps. I greatly appreciate you. I can't believe that my Borderlands 2 review video got over 100 views. That's insane to me. And that I'm at 23 subscribers. That also blows my mind that 23 of you have decided, hey, let me click on this button to support this guy who has too many video games in his library and is now making review videos to justify his need to buy more of them. And I greatly appreciate that, and I love you all. If you enjoyed this video, like the video. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment down below telling me why you enjoyed it. And yeah, if you enjoyed it even extra, I would greatly appreciate a sub, even though a comment is way more important in my opinion. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it this far, I'm out. Peace. Love you.